Welcome back to the show. We got another great one lined up. Check this out. Digital asset investor and myself have come together with Caleb and Brown. For years, we've been looking for the solution we need for our crypto. And let me tell you, after 7 years in this space, I'm now getting the best night's sleep I've ever had. Why? Because Caleb and Brown has institutional grade custody for retail investors like you and I. And here's the other big thing. They have a human customer service system. That's right. You can call, you could set up an appointment and talk to a real human being. Now, why is this important? Well, one, if you ever have the fear of being hacked, you call your rep. Number two, when bull runs happen, what happens in bull runs? Exchanges freeze up. Well, guess what? You can pick up the phone and call your rep. See, this is the kind of custody you find every day without question in the traditional stock market. But you know what? It doesn't exist in the crypto space unless you're with Caleb and Brown. Click the link underneath this video and all the videos, xrpwealth589.com, and get started. But one quick show of why you want to do it. Here is Jake from Caleb and Brown. Take a listen.
Exciting news, Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin is now available at Caleb & Brown. In this video, we'll explain what RLUSD is, why stablecoins are essential in crypto, and how you can trade it with us. So what is a stablecoin? Simply put, a stablecoin is a cryptocurrency designed to maintain a stable value by being tied to a reserve asset, such as fiat currency. RLUSD, for example, is pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. That means for every unit of RLUSD, there is a matching amount of cash or cash equivalents, ensuring its value remains consistent. RLUSD is built on both the XRP ledger and the Ethereum blockchain, combining speed and scalability with compatibility. It's designed to be versatile, whether you're using it for institutional transactions or exploring DeFi applications. What really sets RLUSD apart is its focus on institutional use. Ripple's technology has been a leader in cross-border payments, and RLUSD builds on that legacy. By offering deep liquidity and instant settlement, it streamlines global transactions, reducing costs and enhancing reliability for businesses and individuals. So why trade RLUSD with Caleb & Brown? With us, you get unparalleled benefits. Unlimited pairings for asset-to-asset trading, access to deep liquidity and seamless trade execution, transparent pricing, no spreads and no hidden fees, and of course, a dedicated personal broker with a 24/7 team around them to help you along the way. RLUSD can be
a dedicated service broker, 24 hours. I'm telling you, this is remarkable. And the fact that they're working with real USD and Ripple too. Look, this is an amazing opportunity before this bull market takes off. Click the link underneath the video. Now, somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.74 trillion market cap for crypto, and the market is off 3.6%. Bitcoin right now, 84,000 plus. We see Ethereum 1,500 plus. XRP is $2.09. We're off 3.1 in the 24, but we're up 17.4% on the 7-day. Range of price very quickly here. Just give a refresh. Let's see, let the page refresh here. Well, Fiat Link doesn't want to be cooperative this morning. So you know what? Let's take a look at this. It's 43 days till XRP Las Vegas, the largest XRP conference in the world, May 30th, May 31st. And Caleb and Brown will be there. You should come see them and ask them any questions that you have. I tell you, it's going to be a remarkable opportunity to be face-to-face with so many top industry leaders. Look, let's start here because the conversation is extremely serious today. And I think we're going to put all the evidence that brings it there for you too. Now, we know stable coins for payments, faster, lower cost, broader transactions, right? We know all of this, and none of this is breaking news to any of us. However, the reason I'm going into this today is very special. Do you remember back in March when we shared this clip when the Stripe CEO draws a parallel between stable coins and the petrodollar as mechanisms that reinforce dollar dominance in the global finance? Take a listen here.
Mr. Collison, does Stripe have any examples of customers using Stripe's stablecoin orchestration platform to break free from authoritarian governments or deflationary national currencies?
Thanks for the question. We see many examples of this. I think of the comparison to the petrodollar system, where starting back in the 70s, the series of agreements with Gulf states created an enormous new source of secular demand for dollars. We're seeing the same thing happening today in emerging markets, where people are taking enthusiastic advantage of this new liberty and this new capability where they can hold dollars and they can, again, get direct access to the world's preeminent reserve currency. I think this is a really big deal for global liberty and for global prosperity.
Quickly, this committee feels strongly that the interact of a federal regime for stablecoin issuers will ultimately inhibit China's ability to control this space. We've seen countries around the world take action to establish national regimes for stablecoins. EU, Japan, UK, Singapore have all taken steps to establish the regulatory framework for stablecoins, recognize potential to modernize payments and enhance financial. So, Mr. Callison, again, quickly, as a global payments company, could you elaborate on how important it is for the U.S. to establish a federal framework to maintain U.S. competitiveness?
Listen.
I think this is important for two reasons. One, there are the practical benefits for American consumers and for American business today. And I think it's simply on those merits worth putting forth a formalized federal framework that enables the stablecoin ecosystem here in the country. But then I think there's a second reason. I think this is what you're getting at, that while it is the case that an overwhelming majority of transactions today are in fact denominated in dollars, and that's enormously to the U.S.'s benefit, there is a risk that if the U.S. adopts a posture of discouraging and inhibiting stablecoin adoption, that the rest of the market will respond and adapt. And perhaps we're here in 5 years and the preeminent stablecoin currency is euros or renminbi or some other global currency, and I think that would be to the U.S.'s detriment.
No question about it. Well said by the CEO of Stripe. Replacing the petrodollar system, this is exactly what we've been talking about. Stablecoins replace the need for the petrodollar agreement. What they haven't told us yet is that XRP will be used to underpin it with a basket of assets and commodities, digital and hard and soft, I believe. The real USD is the real USD. Now, with that, Ripple shared this, right? And this is how they shared it yesterday. Global businesses need fast, low-cost ways to move money. Real USD is now integrated into Ripple payments, enabling real-time cross-border payments backed by institutional-grade compliance, transparency, and trust. Okay, so what are they saying? Read it close. They're not telling us this for nothing. They're telling you the real USD is now integrated into Ripple payments. Remember when they said that they were going to start using it in early 2025? Get ready. Get ready. And how important is it? It's as important as the CEO from Stripe said. Stable coins can be a better mechanism than the petrodollar agreement. The world is a big place. November of last year, SocGen announced that they'd be launching Euro CV stablecoin on the XRP ledger, the second largest economy of the world. Then we saw Ripple just recently announce that they're acquiring Hidden Road. Why? Because Hidden Road does $3 trillion annually in settling derivatives and other areas of the market, FX as well. But they have 300 of the top global institutional clients. They do 50 million transactions a day and 10 billion in inflows a day. That's why they acquired them. Prime broker. The real USD getting on track to settle that $3 trillion a year, you have to ask yourself if Tether's the bus and real USD is the train. You know, real USD currently right now, let's take a look at it here. Tether has a $144 billion market cap. Real USD is on track to putting $3 trillion a year on the ledger. And the real USD, I'm betting, is going to get a lot more of that than XRP will in the beginning for settlement. So instantly, we have watched Ripple acquire a company that absolutely makes Tether look like a tiny little startup. And then one of the most important clips on the internet right now, 3 minutes and 14 seconds of straight fire. This is why digital assets like XRP were created. Write it down and lock in. Shout out to Andrew Developus for this clip. This is Chamath Palihapitiya from the All In podcast. And as you will see, David Sachs, the AI crypto czar, is sitting in this conversation while we hear once again about a new Bretton Woods and a Mar-A-Largo Accords, referencing the Plaza Accords, which was another Bretton Woods-like moment when they came together to do what? Devalue the US dollar to take the stress off of other countries. That's what Mar-A-Largo Accords is hinting towards again. Take a listen to this clip.
I can give you an anecdote and I'll give you a projection. The anecdote is this weekend. My wife and I were in bed and a person called me, very successful businessman who was representing the president of a country, saying, "Hey, Chamath, I need some advice. What do we do here?" And we walked through the three things that he and his government, that their government were trying to figure out because they wanted an off-ramp. They were like, "I'm ready to cry uncle. We're ready to tap out." And again, he was calling me as a private citizen, but I think this conversation was very instructive. Number one, he's like, "Look, we have these really high tariffs on inbound American products. We're happy to cut these things to zero." And I said, "Well, you should do that." Second, while we were exploring, he's like, "Yeah, we have an enormous capital purchase with Airbus." I said, "Cancel it. Swap it to Boeing." He's like, "Done." And then the third, which was interesting, is he's like, "We need to import an enormous amount of energy." And I said, "Well, who do you give that concession to right now?" And it was a non-American company. And I said, "Well, why wouldn't you just RFP that to an American business and let them compete?" And he's like, "We'd be open to that as well." So he said, "We're getting prepared. We want to find a way to talk to the Trump administration." And I'm like, "Great. However I can be helpful, I'll be helpful to you." I got off the phone. I looked at my wife and I said, if even 30 of these 75 countries do a deal anywhere remotely close to this, this was an enormous win. So let me give you my projection, Jason, of what the art of the deal could be here. What you do is you can rewrite Bretton Woods 2.0. What was Bretton Woods 1.0? It was fixing exchange rates. It was setting up the IMF. It was setting up the World Bank. Those were the conditions on the ground post-World War II. It made a lot of sense. What would we do if we had to write the Mar-A-Largo Accords right now? I think what we would do is work backwards from the question that Ezra asked and the answer that I gave. How do we create resiliency in these critical markets? Number one, a framework for that. Number two is how do we create limits for government-sponsored intervention against capital for-profit companies, many of whom are American, so that we can actually compete on a level playing field? And then number three, very simply, if you can do business in my country, why can I not do business in yours? And I'll just give you that story for 1 second. I was responsible. I was the head of every single entity of Facebook outside of the United States. I opened every market. My team and I created a framework for dominating. We figured out how to crack Brazil, India, Russia. The one market that we never could ever make a single iota of progress? China. Say it, Jason, with me.
Well, China, Russia.
No,
Iran.
Wrong. We won in Russia. So my point is, in every single market except one, is it that we were just lucky in 174 markets and one we were stupid? No. So I think that the Mar-A-Lago Accords, this sort of Bretton Woods 2.0, is the outcome, Ezra. It will basically use tariffs as a way to get these governments to a table and allow us to negotiate a much fairer economic quid pro quo.
With David Sachs, the AI crypto czar, sitting in this podcast, not refuting one line, one word of what Chamath Palihapitiya is saying. A new Bretton Woods, Mar-A-Largo Accords, a new setting of the FX rates, a new agreement amongst the world, all tying back, as I have said, to tariffs. You cannot look at the geopolitical events around the world and not understand that they are all leading to the new digital on-chain economy. It is obvious to me. Remember when Scott Bessent, our new U.S. Treasury Secretary, said the same thing? Take a listen here.
Look like it now. It is. I think we're also at a unique moment geopolitically, and I could see in the next few years that we are going to have some kind of a grand global economic reordering. There's something on the equivalent of a new Bretton Woods, or if you want to go back, like something back to the steel agreements or the Treaty of Versailles. There's a very good chance that we are going to have to have that over the next 4 years, and I'd like to be a part of it.
And he's going to be a part of it. And that is a massive signal that we have been right for years, and this is the window that it gets done. The world cannot wait. The United States is running out of runway when it comes to the U.S. dollar and the threat of its dominance being threatened. And then remember this.
SEC is going to end up with a $50 million. The U.S. government's going to get $50 million. We've even talked about making that available in XRP.
Well, wouldn't that make a nice little starter pack of XRP for the digital asset stockpile? And wouldn't the digital asset stockpile and the Bitcoin strategic reserves go nicely with a new Bretton Woods and Mar-A-Largo Accords? It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the Freedom Zone. Oh my goodness, you are going to want to get in here today. New news on the tariff front, which is connected to everything that I just showed you, because Chamath just confirmed exactly what I've been speculating on here in the channel, is that all of these deals getting done for tariffs, yes, it's about getting the prices down and the percentages of tariffs down, and yes, it's about bringing manufacturing back home, but yes, it is also about securing these new deals because we're moving everything to tokenization, to the new digital on-chain economy. And we need to have the new deals struck before we get there. That's what's going on. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Hit that join button and come on into the Freedom Zone. We're getting started right now. Come on in. All right.